been preparing for SATs all this year. Ever since we've been in year six, we've been preparing for them. And now booster classes are starting next week, so that will help us even more to prepare.
This is Manor Primary School in Wolverhampton. Its 400 pupils come from an area of social deprivation, high unemployment and low adult education. It's 8 weeks before their Year 6 pupils will be taking their Key Stage 2 national curriculum tests. But school life appears to continue as usual. Their head teacher since 1998, Anita Cliff.
SATs don't change the way we teach. Obviously, we want our children to achieve. We want them to be able to cope when they go to secondary school. And we want them to have achieved the best possible results they can here across the curriculum. And so obviously, we have very high expectations. We want them all to get to level 5.
The children's baseline assessments on entry show they're well below average. But in 2005, the school topped the national value-added tables. 98% of the pupils reached level 4 in English, and all of them achieved level 4 in maths and science. And they still find time to edit the school newspaper. Year 6 teacher and deputy head, Julie Mills.
We don't SATs, we don't teach English, maths and science, and so therefore the children don't feel under pressure, and all of our children know it's about achieving your best, and if they strive to achieve their best, then they'll be congratulated.
To help the children do their best in the test, Manor Primary uses a number of approaches. They employ rigorous target setting throughout the school. There's a focused team approach to curriculum planning, and they aim to deliver active lessons.
Well, we've had targets, so that one of my targets is to improve on my handwriting.
When children arrive at Manor Primary, and even at Key Stage 1, their attainment is below average.
Can you tell me some of the ways that we could write words correctly?
For that reason, they use target setting throughout the school, not just in Year 6. This Year 2 group is working with teaching assistant Jane Turner.
Look up there. We've got all our high frequency words there on the board to help us spell words. Any other way, Tara?
In the target books.
Right, in our target books now, 2 of
All staff are very skilled at knowing what level a child is working at. Now, children's work and assessment is never done in isolation. One teacher wouldn't sit there and do that on their own. It would always be done in a phase, so everybody who worked in that phase would sit down and bring samples of work from their class.
So teaching assistant Jane joins class teacher and Key Stage 1 phase leader Louise Wedge and Julie Mills to assess some of their Year 2's writing and to agree some new targets for them.
If you can just read it, I'll read it out. Right. When I got to the top dinosaur, I saw again a spiky, scary tree in the distance. Yeah.
This child has definitely got an understanding of how to put together a piece of writing, so it's starting
She's
at the
got an
beginning.
opening and it's all in chronological order.
Yeah,
it flows.
capital letters, full stop.
Yeah.
So, 1B.
Every member of staff is very ambitious for every child in every year group, and we target 2/3 of a level progress in every year. Now, half a level is average progress, and we aspire for our children to achieve 2/3 of a level.
So in terms of this child, we need to move
her on
1A.
to a 1A,
So-
which is, these are the targets for a 1A that she could have in her book.
Right.
She needs to use different words, like she's used spiky and scary all the way through, hasn't she? So it's a range of words.
Okay, and to spell some words right.
Jane then feeds these targets back to the children.
My writing target this week is to be able to spell words correctly. Now that doesn't mean all the words in our writing, it means some of them. So I need you now to think about your target and to read what you have written and check that you have spelled some of your words correctly. So can you all read your writing for me?
termly targets are tracked so that you can see how much progress have they made, are they on track to achieve 2/3 level, if not, which group of children are not on track, and what can we do about it, what intervention programme can we put in place to ensure we meet those ambitious targets, because our children in nursery come in broadly below average, and so to get them from below average to be well above average, but well above the national average, we've obviously got to accelerate progress.
What's that last sound?
In terms of targets, the children will either have them pasted in their book or they'll have them stuck on their desks, and if you spoke to the children and said to them, what are you doing well, they'd be able to say to you, in my piece of work here I know I can, but I really know I need to do this in order to move it forward.
I need to demarcate my sentences, like using commas and colons and stuff like that. Well, in maths, I'm trying to improve on times and dividing by 10, 100 and 1,000. Just to extend them and put more punctuation and that in.
By breaking down the curriculum into small targets, Manor Primary hopes that by the time the children are in Year 6, they will all have a secure foundation to their understanding. They also believe that their test results are improved by a team approach to planning.
The development of an exciting, engaging curriculum that inspires our teachers and teaching assistants and our children is fundamental to the raising of standards here. We want everybody to be excited about learning.
With their long-term plans in place, the staff still meet every week to make sure units of work are relevant for the week ahead.
Each phase of the school plans together. They do their planning one night a week, they do it in an hour, and they get all of their planning done. Everybody can't be an expert at everything, and in a primary school you're having to teach the full range of subjects, and so what we've embedded is team planning. You know, we've moved away from subject leaders.
So, child speak. To understand the role of the theatre, or to understand how important theatre was to the group.
So if someone is feeling a little bit insecure about perhaps a science lesson, because it's being planned with a team of people, they can raise their insecurities and say, what would we do here, what would we do next, what is the key learning here?
Differences, yeah, so they're making the link between past and present.
Active lessons are another important ingredient.
I like talkative lessons, because talking to the teacher and I just think it's a lot better than just doing it on your own.
When an object falls, air resistance acts in the opposite direction to the weight. What do you think I mean? So the air
This Year 6 class is looking at air resistance.
Go on then, talk to your partner about it then for me.
The air is the gravity on the top.
One of the key things we start from the minute they join us, lots and lots of collaborative learning where they're talking with each other and they're learning together and they're articulating, lots and lots of work on speaking and listening.
Because if there wasn't gravity, then it would just be floating around in air.
Science here of the 3 subjects is our strongest subject. Last year, 98% of our children got level 5 in science, and this year we're hoping for 100%. And I think that's probably because of the practical hands-on learning right from reception. I mean, you know, from foundation stage, their knowledge and understanding of the world is practical.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Someone said,
You would hope that if you went into any science lesson at some point in your school that you would be able to see the children investigate it for themselves.
And then if you drop it on 1 metre, it probably takes about 1 second.
I was particularly pleased with the use of vocabulary. From the onset of the lesson, the use of vocabulary was very good.
We found out that every 75 centimetres it goes up 1 second when you drop it. We did the weights on the bottom, but then we put weights on the wings and they stopped it spinning.
Vocabulary is key, and if the children can't verbally use the vocabulary, you're never going to be able to ask them to write it down.
And in like science and that, it's really fun. We have really fun investigations.
Well, it just boosts our confidence, really.
With all this creative learning going on, when do they introduce the test?
SATs are part of Year 6 and we'd be a fool to ignore it. And, you know, we start to prepare the children very, very subtly.
What I want to do is I want to see if you can apply the knowledge that you have just gained. And we're actually going to have a look at a SATs question.
We'd weave SATs questions into Year 6 lessons and Year 5 lessons in plenaries, so that children were familiar with what they look like, so that they knew they were prepared for them.
As we have been investigating.
And we'd weave a few SAT papers into lessons leading up to SAT, so that children, they were not unfamiliar to them and they felt confident in terms of, I've got 45 minutes to do this paper.
As part of their practical lesson on air resistance, the children look at a test question about a toy rocket being squeezed out of a bottle.
Our head wants to cut through the air resistance, she's trying to stop it, so it's working the other way, isn't it?
While they are becoming familiar with the test paper, the pupils can work together.
So the graph just showed that her prediction was correct because the further the rocket travelled, the further the air resistance
and longer the rocket.
Once the children have had a go, the teacher works through the answer on the board.
If I squeeze this bottle, the rocket is going to go in which direction? It's going to go like that. What have we learnt about air resistance today?
the object is going up or down, then that means the air resistance will go the opposite way, trying to keep it down or up.
She's using key vocabulary. She's telling me that the air resistance works in the opposite direction to the force.
We do like SATs questions a few times each week. We do it like after a lesson in the plenary.
And Miss answers them and reads them out, we just get used to them. In the SATs, you get quite a lot of time to do one of the papers, and then you can think of it until you've got the right answer, and you can make sure you've got the right answer by going through it in your head and checking it over and over again.
On the SATs day, we're just behind the children, making sure that they feel confident and they're happy about it and that they're expecting it.
I would hope if you spoke to one of our children, they would just, they're not stressed by it at all.
I'm really looking forward to it for some reason because, we done SATs in Year 2, but that was easy and hard. But I'm really looking forward to see them really hard and really easy.
You get children to perceive, and their parents as well, that the SATs are just an assessment point. And if you build assessment in every term of the school year they're with you, they see assessment as something normal. And if you can get them into the language of what I need to do next is because I want to be better, they're aspiring to be better.
We've still got to make sure that our children are well-rounded and that they are happy and they're achieving, and we're just a stepping stone, aren't we? We've still got to, by the end of the year, make sure that the children in our care and in Year 6 are ready to make the transfer to Key Stage 3.
I'm just going to do I'm just going to do the best I can.